You know that moment when you sit down to do something important and your hand still reaches for your phone? You meant to start 5 minutes ago, then you checked one thing and suddenly the day felt heavier. Not because you don't care, but because beginning somehow asks for more energy than you have. If that sounds familiar, this video is for you. By the end, you'll know how to turn almost any habit into a tiny starting ritual you can actually repeat today without waiting to feel ready. Because the real problem is usually not the habit, it's the starting line. When the first step feels too expensive, your mind resists before you even begin. So today, I want to show you how to make that first step small enough that resistance loses its grip. And stay with me, because near the end, I'll give you one final question that can reveal the habit you've quietly made too big to start. Section 1. Shrink the first move. If your goal is to read, don't promise yourself an hour. Open the book and read one page. If your goal is to work out, don't negotiate with the whole session. Put on the shoes. If your goal is to write, don't ask for a perfect paragraph. Open the document and write one sentence. That tiny first move matters because your brain is not always resisting the habit itself. It's resisting the size of the promise. Big starts feel loaded, small starts feel safe, and safe is what makes movement possible. You are not trying to finish the day in the first 10 seconds. You are just trying to make the doorway easy enough to walk through. Section 2. Stop asking for the whole future at the door. This is where people freeze. They stand in front of the task and accidentally ask it to mean everything. A workout becomes a body transformation. A clean room becomes a proof of discipline. A study session becomes a verdict on who you are. No wonder the nervous system pushes back. So shorten the conversation. Not a full workout, just stepping into the room. Not a full clean, just clearing one corner. Not a full writing session, just placing the cursor on the page. Why does this work? Because the brain relaxes when it stops negotiating with the mountain. Finishing does not need to be part of the first decision. Beginning can stand alone. And once you begin, momentum has something to hold on to. Section 3. Attach the habit to a real cue. Tiny habits are easier to remember when they live beside something you already do. After coffee, read 2 pages. After closing the laptop, tidy for 2 minutes. After brushing your teeth, set out tomorrow's clothes. Now you are not relying on a mood. You are using a moment. That matters because most habits do not fail from laziness. They fail in the gap between intention and memory. We mean to do the thing, then the day gets noisy, and the habit disappears into everything else. A cue gives the habit a place to land. It turns someday into right after this. And that small shift makes the habit feel less like a debate and more like a rhythm. Section 4. Let small starts build self-trust. Here's the deeper truth. The 2-minute rule is not really about productivity. It is about self-trust. Every time you keep a tiny promise to yourself, you become a little more believable in your own eyes. Not because the task was impressive, because you did what you said you would do. That is identity work. You are teaching your nervous system that starting is safe. You are teaching your mind that your word means something. And once that happens, the habit stops feeling like a battle and starts feeling like a familiar path. A short walk is not nothing. It is evidence. A 2-minute tidy is not a fake win. It is a vote for order. A single page before bed is not too small to matter. It is proof that the door still opens. Section 5. Let the start stay plain. A lot of people think they need the right playlist, the right desk, the right energy, the right morning. But if the habit only works when conditions are perfect, it is not really a habit yet. It is a performance. So make the beginning simple. A notebook by the coffee cup, shoes by the door, one clean corner of the desk, a phone face down, just long enough to begin. The calmer the start, the less your mind has to process, and the less your mind has to process, the less resistance can grow. Less deciding, more doing, less drama, more motion. And strangely, that simplicity can feel like relief. Section 6. Use the 2-minute start as a reset, not a test. Some days you will start and feel clear. Some days you will start and still feel tired. That does not mean the habit is broken. It means you are human. The habit is not there to prove perfection. It is there to give your day a direction. That is why the smallest start is so powerful. It can rescue a messy day without pretending the day is fine. It can turn avoidance into movement. It can turn I'm behind into I've begun. And that shift matters more than it sounds. Because once you begin, the day is no longer only happening to you. You are participating in it. Section 7. Let small become bigger only if it wants to. This part is important. The 2-minute rule is not a trick to stay tiny forever. Sometimes you start for 2 minutes and naturally continue. Sometimes the resistance drops, and the next few minutes feel easier than expected. But sometimes it stays 2 minutes, and that still counts. If you only do the small version, you have still protected the habit. You have still told yourself, I am someone who starts. That means tomorrow is easier, and tomorrow matters more than one heroic afternoon. The problem with overpromising is that it makes every missed day feel like a wound. The power of small starts is that they lower the emotional cost of returning. You do not need every habit to become a long session. You just need a doorway that stays open. Section 8. The overlooked idea that changes everything. Here is the part most people miss. The real win is not doing more. It is making starting feel normal. Because once starting is normal, you stop waiting for the perfect version of yourself to appear. You stop treating every habit like a decision that requires a full debate. You just begin, calmly, repeatedly, without making it a ceremony every time. That is what changes your life over time. Not intensity, not motivation. Repetition that no longer feels emotionally expensive. So ask yourself this final question. What habit have you made so heavy that your mind now avoids it before it even starts? Maybe it's exercising. Maybe it's studying. Maybe it's cleaning your space. Maybe it's writing, saving money, meditating, or going to bed earlier. Now shrink it, not later. Today. Make the first version so small it almost feels silly. 1 page, 1 sentence, 1 minute of stretching, 1 drawer, 1 email, 1 glass of water. Then do that version until starting no longer feels like a negotiation. Because years from now, you probably won't remember the dramatic promises you made to yourself. You will remember the ordinary repetitions, the quiet starts, the small promises kept in rooms no one saw. That is how a life changes. Not all at once, a little at a time, one easy beginning at a time. So what is one habit you've made too heavy to begin, and what is the 2-minute version you can do today? Choose that, start there, and let the rest arrive if it wants to. If this gave you something useful, keep it close. And if you want, share the habit you're shrinking now. Sometimes naming it is the first real start.